Hello and welcome back to Overlay DFS. I'm your host, Ira Silver. I'm feeling great. I don't know about you, but we got a great show for you today. Back on today from last week's episode is my good friend, Daniel Rosenberg. Daniel, how you doing today?
Doing well, Ira. Thanks so much for having me back on.
Absolutely. We had so much fun that we had to do it again. Today, we're going to talk a little bit overlay matchups in week number 5, right? This week is NFL week 5.
Yeah,
and we're going to get into some super contest picks as well. But before we jump in, let's just talk about for Overlay. For those of you who are new to the channel, Overlay DFS is starting the revolution. Are you sick and tired of losing to sharks on FanDuel and DraftKings that have over 150 lineups in each contest, and you're out of it within the first 5 seconds? I was sick of it, and that's why I joined the revolution at Overlay DFS. By the way, we just got our app approved in the App Store, so download it today in the App Store at Overlay Fantasy Sports, or you can go online on the web, on the internet, whatever you want to call it, at OverlayDFS.com. Daniel, let's jump right in and talk about some matchups here on Overlay. Let me go ahead and get into the screen here.
While you're pulling that up, just want to say the app is super clean, dude. Really easy to use.
Yeah, really easy to use, really great design, and I'm really excited for everybody to get into it. I know it was a little bit of a delay here through the first 4 weeks of NFL, but we are finally in business, and that's why I'm feeling great today. And we're gonna talk some overlay matches. You see the screen up here?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Oh.
Let's talk a little bit. I'm gonna bring up a couple interesting matchups, and then you tell me which side you like in these matchups, okay? So first matchup on the board that I'm intrigued by is obviously the matchup that's been going on for a couple weeks now. CMC versus Zeke. You have CMC at home against the Jaguars' stout defense versus Ezekiel Elliott playing at home against Green Bay Packers. What are your thoughts here? Fantasy points, right? Again, for those of you who don't know, what you got to do is you got to choose who you like more, Ezekiel Elliott or Christian McCaffrey. Who's going to score the most points? If you finish in the top 10% of the field, you're going to go ahead and win 9 times your buy-in, okay? 12 picks. If you go a perfect 12-0, you win the grand prize of over $26,000 right now, over $27,000, I believe, now in the $100 game. We're going to review the $20 game, which has a jackpot right now of over $5,700 for going perfect 12-0. So, Daniel, who do you like here? Christian McCaffrey, Zeke Elliott, total fantasy points. If you win it, you get a win. If you're wrong, you get a loss.
Yeah, I think I like Zeke here. I just like him to have a bounce-back game after last week. Don't think Green Bay has the front to really stop him, and I really like Zeke. I think Zeke's one of the best backs in the league, and when he sets his mind to it, he's ready to roll.
Are you a little concerned right now over how slow he looks? He still looks like he might be, have a few more. He still has a few pounds on him from maybe beer in Cabo when he was in his holdout. Are you concerned that he's really just not in game shape right now? Because right now CMC is getting 25 plus touches a game. It seems like that's their whole offense. And Dak looks okay. He's been throwing the ball well. Kellen Moore's been dialing it up. So are you concerned at all about Zeke's endurance and his overall gameplay right now, his shape?
I would say, I mean, you definitely take it into consideration, but the fact that guys can lose so much weight so quickly, doesn't really concern me that much. I think he's the best back in the league. So personally, I think he's going to have a huge week this week against Green Bay, and I would take Zeke over McCaffrey.
All right, cool. Jumping into the next interesting matchup that I always love, and these are the matchups that I really love to kind of dissect and dig deep into. Mike Evans versus Chris Godwin. You got two guys on the same team that play the same position, and they're going up against New Orleans at home. What are your thoughts here? Who do you think has a better day? Who do you think Jameis targets the most here?
Yeah, it's a tough call. It really depends on how the defense decides to play them. I think you saw last week, Godwin had a huge week against the Rams, whereas Evans had a nice week, just not as big as Godwin. So I think week to week, it'll really depend. I don't know. I really haven't done enough research on this particular matchup to be able to give you my input.
Okay, no worries. Let's move on here. Let's take a look at a couple more matchups. I mean, right now it's Juju Smith-Schuster. We don't know how bad that injury was when he played on Sunday night or Monday night. Monday
Yeah,
night, right? Monday
Monday
Night Football.
and Connor's a little bit banged up as well. I'm pretty sure. There were a couple matchups that intrigued me. I don't know if you want to run through.
Yeah, yeah. Which matchups did you want to look at?
So I like Gardner Minshew against Kirk Cousins this week.
Let's pull that up here. Gardner Minshew, Mustache Minshew, huh?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Minshew. I
Right
also
here.
think that Cousins could lose his starting job like in the first quarter with a couple picks.
To who? Who's his backup?
Doesn't matter. They're done.
Okay,
They're ready to. They're talking about shipping off Stephon Diggs, man.
I heard.
How does that make any sense?
I don't know. Kirk Cousins, he really parlayed that earlier career into a big contract, and now that he's got all that money, he just looks
And
like he can't even throw the football anymore.
that's exactly what I'm saying. So give me Minshew here. I really just think Cousins and this Minnesota offense is completely lost. Aside from Dalvin Cook, they really got nothing. I don't trust Thielen and Diggs on a week-to-week basis because you have no idea whether or not their quarterback can get them the ball, and they're two of the best wide receivers in the league.
And it's
So
interesting. It's interesting that you're going to go ahead and pick Gardner Minshew here in this spot because if you look at Kirk Cousins' matchup, he's going up against one of the worst defenses in the league in the New York Giants. So I do agree with you. Minnesota does not play as well on the road as they do at home, but you're picking the rookie against Carolina on the road over Kirk Cousins on the road against the horrible New York Giants.
I do. I am and sticking with it. I think Cousins, Minnesota performs worse on the road and specifically outdoors. And I think the Giants are a bit fired up. They've won 2 in a row. They're starting to look a little bit better. I think what we saw from them at the beginning of the year might be. I mean, I think it's actually who they are as a team, but I definitely think that they're slightly better than that, and I think their defense will be juiced up to play and get them a chance to go over 500.
Okay, and what's the second matchup that you like here?
The second matchup was. So, let's go to right there, Thielen versus Diggs.
Thielen versus Diggs, staying on the Minnesota bandwagon here. Okay, tell me what you think here.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot of faith in Diggs. I think the fact that they want to trade him, I think the fact that Mike Zimmer really tends to want to run the ball, isn't so big into throwing it. I just feel like Diggs is kind of on his way out. I don't know if you watched any of his interviews this week, but doesn't sound like a guy who really wants to stay in Minnesota. He's also, I think, a little bit banged up, and that's affecting his performance. And a guy who really wants to no longer play for a particular team. I don't think they're going to get his best effort, especially when he's already banged up. I think he'd like to take care of his body before he gets traded to a new team.
Great. Well, Daniel, those are your 2 picks for Overlay. We'll see you in the lobby on Sunday. You guys can follow along against him. He's only going to give you 2 picks because he can't give you all his picks. But his screen name is, what is it? Hoops and LA, correct?
Correct.
All right. So if you see Hoops and LA at the top or the bottom of the leaderboard, that is my man right here. We are going to go. Sorry to put you on blast, but they gotta be able to follow you. We're going to jump right into super contest lines, some picks, some NFL games. How'd you do last week? I went 4-1 in the Circa Millions and 3-2 in the super contest. I thought I was going to go ahead and get 4-1 in both, but I decided to go with the Bengals in the super contest.
I believe I went 4-1.
That was bad
last week in the super contest.
Nice. Yeah, I think you did go 4-1 as well. Let's jump into tonight's game. The game starts in about 15 minutes from now. You got the Seattle Seahawks at home facing the LA Rams. It's kind of a great primetime matchup. They're starting to get back into the better games here on the slate. We know Todd Gurley's not a big fan of the Thursday night games. Jared Goff hasn't looked fantastic at all this season. And it looks like Russell Wilson is really in great form right now. Seahawks look like they're playing together. Pete Carroll's a great coach. I mean, obviously Sean McVay is too. Who do you like here? I'm going to go ahead and lay 1 with the Seahawks if I had to make a decision. It is not one of my plays, but I would lean Seahawks -1. The live line right now before kickoff is Seahawks -1.5, -110. Any thoughts here in this game?
Yeah, I mean, you called it with the Rams last week. They were really due for a loss after really not performing so well their first 3 games. Tough to come back after a loss like that and play on short time rest. I'm a Rams fan. I love my Rams. I think they rested Gurley intentionally on Sunday. Didn't really give the ball much to him. I think that was slightly intentional. To kind of save them for tonight. I like the Rams here +1.5.
All right, maybe we'll have to have some side action on the game, but Seahawks all day for me here. Gurley, every Rams homer and Gurley homer keeps saying, no, they're resting Gurley for this game in this spot. All right, I'm sick and tired of hearing it. We're already a quarter way through the season. Stop with the excuses. Stop with the Gurley excuses. It's over. Let's bring Malcolm Brown in, and let's have a better team. Seahawks -1.5. Next game on the board, and I'm not going to let you talk anymore on that game because that's all I'm going to hear is Rams shit, and that's all. I don't even want to listen to it.
Fair.
Next matchup on the board, you got the Steelers at home facing the Ravens. The Ravens laying 3. I have no thoughts on this game. You?
Yeah, I'd probably go with the Ravens. Don't love laying the full 3 points here. I think the Steelers aren't as bad as people thought they were. I think Mason Rudolph is semi-talented and can actually take this team somewhere. He may not be a vet like Roethlisberger, but I definitely think they're a pretty solid team. If Juju's not banged up this week, I actually like the Steelers to possibly cover the 3 points.
Interesting. Not anything that I would go near. Next game on the
same.
What?
Same.
Okay.
I'm not interested in touching this game, but if I had to make a choice, I'd go Steelers.
Okay. Raiders at home against the Bears. Bears laying 5.5. This is all Raiders for me, even with the Vontaze Burfict suspension for the rest of the year. I'm going to go ahead and catch 5.5 with the home dog here. Raiders +5.5. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think people are underestimating the fact that Trubisky was pretty solid for them. Like, he didn't make mistakes often, and he seemed to really put the ball in some tight windows. His last game really performed well. I like the Bears here.
Interesting.
Sorry. I like the Raiders here. Yeah, sorry. I like the Raiders here. I think the Bears miss out on too much without Trubisky in the lineup.
That's what he meant. He meant Derek Carr with the tight windows and missing too much with Trubisky in his arm. I actually think they get an upgraded quarterback with, I believe it's Chase Daniel?
Yes.
I think they get an upgrade there. I watched the game. It looks much better. I'm still going to go Raiders here. Just too many points at home in the black hole. Last season on the line for the Raiders in Oakland. I'm going to go ahead and take the Raiders here +5.5. Next game on the board, you got the what a garbage game. Bengals -3 at home against the Cardinals. John Ross, IR, out for the remainder of the season. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cardinals here and catch 3 points on the road, but it is just, I've been backing the Cardinals every week, it seems like, and they keep disappointing me. I'm going to go ahead and pass on this game, but if I had to make a decision here, it'd be Cardinals +3.
Yeah, this is actually one of the games on my list for the Super Contest. I definitely have the Cardinals here.
All right, well, it might end up on my card, but they've been disappointing me every week, so I just don't know if I have the emotional bandwidth to choose them again and sweat Kyler Murray running around the field, not knowing what he's doing over there. But Kyler, you're still my season-long fantasy quarterback, so get it together. Next game on the board, I should say. Panthers laying 3.5 at home against the Jaguars. Give me the Jaguars. Give me that mustache. Give me his arm. Let's chug some beers after the game. I'm going with Mustache Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars. +3.5 on the road in Carolina. What about you?
I like it. I'm on board with you. Give me the Jags. I'd actually likely have this on my super contest list as well, or just off the list. We'll see.
Borderline pick for you. I'm going to go Jaguars here. Next game on the board, Giants at home, catching 5.5 against the Vikings. I don't know about you. It seems like you like the Giants here in this spot. It's a pass game for me. I could go either way. Vikings could just totally implode, or they can explode and take out all their frustration on the lowly Giants. Pass game for me. If I had to make a decision, probably Vikings minus 5.5. But no, not a recommendation for me.
Yeah, probably wouldn't take this game, but I would lean Giants actually. So I would take the opposite side here. Like I said, I just think the Vikings are bound to implode. I don't know if it's this week, but just things do not seem good over there.
This might be a good teaser play, actually. Vikings, basically plus what is it? Plus a half? Plus one. Plus one? I'm not doing the math right. Plus a half? Yeah, plus a half.
Yeah.
And the Giants under 49.5. Don't hate it. Just a thought. I got to bounce it around a couple more times in my head, but just looking at it, it kind of pops out at me. Next game on the board, Redskins. Man, at home against the Patriots, catching 15.5. I want nothing to do with this game. Redskins can go and just sell their team or whatever they need to do, because that franchise is a total disaster.
They should just change their name at this point. It's not even about it being offensive to anybody. It's just their play is offensive, so they should.
Their play is absolutely offensive. Not a game I'm even looking at. Eagles minus 13.5 at home against the Jets. If Darnold plays here, I don't think he will, but if Darnold plays, the Jets would become an automatic play for me. If they do not, I don't want anything to do with this game either, so this is a pass game for me. Anything here for you?
Yeah, I'd also pass. And if I'm Darnold, I would sit. Rupturing a spleen, not something I would want to risk.
Oh, because he has mono, you're saying he's at risk for that.
Yeah, it gets super enlarged, and that's actually the main reason why you can't play in any contact sports.
Ooh, well, don't keep talking about that, because I might pass out here doing the video. I'm a very queasy guy. So next game on the board, you got the Saints are at home, laying 3.5 against the Buccaneers. Buccaneers really had an impressive win on Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. However, I just think the Saints are just too good here. They're playing like a well-oiled machine, even without Drew Brees. They showed it against a tough Cowboys team last week on Sunday Night Football, right? Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
I would lay the 3.5 here with the Saints. What say you, Daniel?
I would too, although it's a stay away game for me.
Correct. I'm on that. I'm on the same page with you as well. But it's
yeah,
borderline. It's a borderline play for me here.
Tampa's offense is really starting to pick it up. I think it's what everyone kind of anticipated seeing at the beginning of the season from Bruce Arians, a Bruce Arians-led team. So I'm really interested in seeing what happens in this game, because I think if the Bucks win, I think it's really telling.
Yeah, and in my season-long league, I just got rid of OBJ. I traded OBJ for Mike Evans and Sony Michel. I think I got a lot in that trade, and I was happy about it. So
wow.
I'm very happy about the Bucks. Look like they're clicking here early in the season. I'm excited to see what they do. Might be a good opportunity to bet them to win that division, but still a long shot, in my opinion. Next on the board, Texans -5 at home against the Falcons. Falcons team that really looks very disorganized at 1-3. Devontae Freeman looks like he can't run through a hole. It looks like he can't run through a tunnel with nobody blocking it. The Texans, on the other hand, are also struggling offensively, in my opinion. 5 seems like a lot here for the Texans to be laying. I just don't believe that they are that good. Falcons, don't get me wrong, I hate them, but it's tough. I don't have a play here, but it's a close line for me. If it was 6, I play the Falcons, but right now I'm playing the Texans.
Yeah, I think I'd stay on the Texans as well, but it's also a stay away game for me.
Okay, next game on the board, which I really like, is the Tennessee Titans at home, laying 3 points against the Buffalo Bills. I think that this is a spot. Well, it depends. If Josh Allen plays, I think that I have to go with the Bills here. If Josh Allen does not play, the Titans will be a play for me on Sunday. So just keep your eye on the news here, and you'll know who I have in this contest.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. If Josh Allen plays, the Bills are one of my picks for the weekend for the Super Contest if he does play.
And if he does not play, the Titans will definitely be my play.
Yes.
And Matt Barkley, he's a good dude. I know him from college, but he is not. He's not going to be able to lead that team to victory against the Titans defense. It's just not possible, unfortunately. But he's a good dude. I like the guy a lot. Next game on the board, Chargers at home, -6.5 against the Broncos. This is a spot for me where I know I said I wasn't going to bet on the Broncos at all the rest of the year, but it might be a spot here that I like the Broncos. Again, I haven't finalized my card. I'm just talking about the things that I like and what I see. Broncos 6.5 on the road in LA, which doesn't really have home field advantage. Though I think there'll be more Broncos fans at this game. What say you, Daniel?
Yeah, that definitely tends to happen at Charger games where it's not a home game for them. I definitely think I like the Broncos here. They presented a lot of value throughout the season so far. They haven't really helped sharp bettors with all that value. And I really think that this week may be that week where they come and help us sharp bettors. But at the same time, I think losing Bradley Chubb last week is going to really, really hurt their defense. And it's a stay away game for me.
Joe Flacco, hold on to the fucking ball, dude.
Ha! I'm with you.
If you just hold on to the ball, the sharp bettors are happy with the Broncos all year. Just hold on to the ball. That's all you got to do. Stop fumbling. Stop throwing picks.
Don't tell anybody. Joe Flacco looks like a woman I used to go to law school with.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. That's a nugget from Daniel Rosenberg right
Yep.
there. Moving on. Cowboys at home -3.5 against the Green Bay Packers. This game for me seems like a play. I'm still a little unsure. It's still only Thursday early evening here, but I'm going to go Packers +3.5 on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. What about you?
Interesting. I'm probably going to go in the opposite direction. I like the Cowboys here. I think they just had a rough week last week. I think they have a really high-powered offense that when things are going well, they're really going well for them. And they have one of the best defenses in the league. I really like the Cowboys here. And I'll take them -3.5, and they'll be one of my plays this week.
Wow. Bold prediction there. It just seems like such a sucker's line to lay 3.5 at home with the Cowboys.
I hear that. I hear you.
And I would still make the bet if Devontae Adams doesn't play. How about that?
Oh, you know what? I'm actually really reconsidering that pick.
No, don't let me talk you out of it. I'm looking for some side action. Don't let me talk you out of it.
It's not just that. When you think back to the game even last week that the Packers lost, they outplayed Philly. They just sucked in the red zone.
You mean Saints?
Packers play the Saints last week?
Sorry. I thought you meant the Cowboys. Sorry.
No, sorry. Packers. They played the Eagles, and they really moved the ball well. They played a great game. They should have won that game. I had money on the Eagles, so that was helpful. I think we both did.
Yep.
But bottom line is, they moved the ball. They moved the ball extremely well.
And I think that you're not taking into consideration that the Cowboys had a letdown game. So they finally come down to reality. It's going to be a big public spot, in my opinion. Two big public teams. However, I think the Packers here are the value team at 3.5. They
But
also, in my opinion, though, not in my opinion, they're going to be more well rested. They played Thursday night.
yeah,
So take that
I
into consideration as well.
can I change my pick and actually go with them on
All right, all right. He's
Give me
joining my
Green
train over here,
Bay.
guys.
Let's go.
How's
Let's
the
go.
baseball game? What's the score in the baseball game?
3-3, bottom of the eighth.
3-3, bottom of the eighth. The over was 9.5, so you're gonna need some help.
Let's go. 4 runs, baby.
All right. Not last game. 2 more games to get through. Chiefs at home against the Colts. They are laying 11 points. That's a big number here. We lost Daniel. There he is. Chiefs at home laying 11 points against the Colts. Big number. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game. If I had to do anything, I would take the dog. I just think 11 points is too much. If it was something like 8.5, I'd probably lay it with the Chiefs. But 11, forget about it. Give me the Colts all day at 11.
Is TY playing this week?
I don't think it matters.
Okay. But I agree with you either way. I think the Colts had a letdown last week. I actually like the Colts a lot. I think we discussed that a bit.
I had the Raiders last week, so
I know you had the Raiders.
Yes, I did.
But I really do think that the Colts are a pretty good team this year. So I don't think that they should be more than a touchdown dog.
I agree. I think the line really should have been about 8.5. That's me. But listen, Mahomes primetime at home, Sunday Night Football, NBC. You never know, and maybe that they took some of that into account as well. I mean, and you got to understand, if you see on the screen, the Colts are 3-1 against the spread here. Chiefs are only 2-2. Obviously, still no Tyreek Hill. LaShawn and Damian are a little banged up. Mahomes looked like he came down to earth last week a little bit against the Detroit Lions. So I'm looking at the Colts here 11, but no official play here on this game.
That's something that we really need to start taking notice of, is Matt Patricia doing a pretty good job at figuring out pretty prolific offenses.
God, I hate that guy. He's just cost me so much.
Saying, go back to last year where Goff started struggling, and it starts with that game against the Lions last year. It's almost like he figured Goff and the Rams out, and I'm wondering if we're going to see a similar thing with the Chiefs.
All right. Last game on the board, Monday Night Football, and this should be a fun one. 49ers at home laying 3.5 to the Cleveland Browns. 49ers are 2-1 against the spread. Browns are 2-2 against the spread. The Browns finally bounced back and had a quality win over the Baltimore Ravens last week, and they just trounced them. Maybe I shouldn't have traded OBJ away that quick. Maybe they're turning things around, but I just think there's too many mouths to feed in the Cleveland. So I'm happy with that trade. As once again, I will reiterate that. I will go ahead and take, I think, the Browns here plus 3.5. I just think the 49ers are probably the most overrated undefeated team. They're undefeated, right?
Yes, they are. And I couldn't agree more with you. So, don't even ask me my opinion. It's like everything you're saying. Perfect. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if it's scary or a good thing that we agree so much on these lines, but
yeah.
I'm not sure.
I actually like them as a potential super contest pick. I do like the Browns. I think
I like the Browns a lot, and obviously
we anointed them as the next big team, real quick, and then we all threw them to the wolves real quick, and now I think we're kind of about just spot on with what kind of team that they're going to be.
Listen, I think there's a lot of overreaction early in the season. Listen, the Browns do not have an easy schedule by any stretch of the imagination this season. So I think this is a must-win game for them. I believe they have a really tough schedule coming up over the next 3 games as well, if I'm not mistaken. But don't quote me on it. I'm just going off memory. I think that this is a spot where the Browns really take control. I think this is a money line play for me on Monday Night Football. So obviously I will have the Browns and some action on Monday Night Football in the Super Contest. So hopefully I'm 4-0 going into Monday night, because I will have the Browns in both the Super Contest and the Circa Millions Contest.
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. So what are we wagering on tonight's game? You want to do a little 6-pack of beer or something?
I'm down.
All right. We got to go with the live line though, -1.5. So I'm going to have to lay an extra half a point here. I don't feel great about it. Obviously I would love if I was just laying a point here, but what beer do you
You
like,
know what?
Daniel?
You know what? I'll even let you leave it at +1, and I'm that confident in that.
No, no,
No,
no, no,
no,
no, no.
no, 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 no. Take the
All right. Well, I'm not gonna go ahead and reject a little bit of equity here. So I'll go ahead and take the line. But what kind of beer do you like?
Pacifico. I'm
Uh,
easy.
all right, you're Pacifico. If I win, let's go with a shock top.
Okay,
Shock top, 6-pack of shock top.
I'm familiar.
All right, cool. Well, again, thanks so much for joining us, Daniel. Everybody out there, if you don't know us already and if you're not following us already, please follow us on all social media at OverlayDFS. Go download the app today in the App Store, Overlay Fantasy Sports in the App Store. And you can download it on your Android phone directly from our website at www.overlaydfs.com. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time. And Daniel, I look forward to hopefully seeing you again next week. And if not, we'll do it again sometime soon.
Definitely looking forward to next week.
All right, thanks, and go Seahawks.
Go Rams, baby.
All right, bye.